we doing on time?
Huh?
How are we doing on time? Because
Yes,
you
we
asked
are
for
running
15
time.
minutes, but I
No.
think we're running late. Should I?
Yeah, we're running late.
Is
Let's
10
go.
good?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so it's great to be talking to you all, and it's really a great time to be embarking on a PhD. Rita asked me to prepare a little presentation about why I think algorithmic game theory is especially a fantastic topic. And I want to say that game theory is a very interdisciplinary field that people in mathematics and operations research and economics and computer science and other disciplines are all advancing game theory. And so algorithmic game theory is the part of game theory that's really primarily being advanced by computer science. So I'm going to give you a computer science perspective on what is super exciting about game theory. And so I'm a computer scientist, and I like to think about what is going to be advancing the field of computer science to really become what it can be. And I think a grand challenge for computer science is to not just be the science of what happens in digital computers, but to be the science of computation that happens everywhere in the world all the time. Some of my favorite examples of computations that are happening in the world are some of the ones listed here: scientific discovery, economic systems, political systems, biological evolution. These are all environments where, because of the mechanisms at play, outcomes are being essentially computed from as the systems progress. The key computational primitive that's happening in these systems is local, individual, or strategic optimization. And this is the essence of game theory. And of course, if we want to understand these systems, what we care about is not what's happening at the individual or local level. We care about what's happening globally. What are the outcomes of these systems when all the participants or the individuals or the elements of the systems are locally optimizing? I think this sort of dream of having a computational science of everything is a little bit too big and too far out. And when you have a dream that's that far out, you need to figure out where can we make progress now. And a key application area for me is the area of online markets. Okay, and these are places where there are computation coming from the individuals who participate in the market, who are looking for good outcomes for themselves, and then the market maker also is essentially running algorithms to figure out how to allocate resources to the different people in the marketplace. And a couple of my favorites I've listed here: Uber, Stack Exchange. These are all online platforms where people come together and interact with the platform. You show up at these platforms because you want stuff for yourself, right? And then the question for online markets is, well, how do we structure these marketplaces so when everyone shows up and wants stuff for themselves that we actually get good societal outcomes? And so this research area is algorithmic game theory. And it combines algorithm design and game theory. I've listed here a couple of sort of central question areas in algorithmic game theory that are sort of what do you get when you think about game theory and algorithms together? And so one example is what if the strategic agents in your game theoretic environment are actually using algorithms to figure out how to move in the game? So what happens if we play games with algorithms? And then another question might be, well, if we're algorithms designers and the inputs to our algorithms come from strategic agents, well then how should we design the algorithms differently so the algorithms compute good outcomes when the inputs are strategic? Okay, so this is algorithms for agents that are strategic. Okay, and then the last thing in my list here is that you know, we can bring a lot of the so the algorithms research has developed over you know over half a century in computer science to be able to answer certain kinds of questions about algorithms. And it turns out these design and analysis methods from algorithms are actually broadly useful for understanding other things, like things happening in game theoretic environments. And so the algorithmic game theory has taken a sort of different perspective on game theoretic questions, asking things like, what's the role of simplicity? If I have, you know, more complicated games or more simple games, can the outcomes of simple games be almost as good as the outcomes of complicated games? Robustness. You know, some models might rely on very complicated assumptions. Can we come up with solutions to these models that rely on complicated assumptions that rely on far fewer assumptions and get comparably good outcomes? And then computational complexity is this perspective that if the outcome you're hoping to find is computationally intractable for any of the parties involved, that's probably not going to happen. And so how do we understand outcomes in situations like games where some of the parties are, to play their optimal strategies, for example, have to solve computationally intractable problems? Cool, so this is a 20 years old field, a subfield of computer science, algorithmic game theory. And there are a lot of central topics which I'll just briefly talk about. And so computational complexity of equilibria, and Kamal Jain has a really nice quote that says, you know, if your laptop can't compute it, neither can the market. Which says that, you know, really we need to rely on equilibrium concepts that are computationally tractable. And, you know, John Nash's famous theorem showing that every game has a Nash equilibrium. Well, some games only have Nash equilibria that are intractable to compute. So what happens in those games? Okay, and so this area of computational complexity of equilibria asks things like, you know, which equilibrium concepts are computationally tractable, which are intractable, and what are the game theoretic predictions we want to make if we are dealing with an equilibrium concept that's intractable. Cool. Learning in games. We're going to hear a little bit more about learning in games later because it's an important topic in game theory. This is what computer scientists think about learning in games. What learning algorithms are good in competition? What are the outcomes that we expect to get when we have a bunch of learning algorithms trying to figure out how to play in games? And what is the relationship between classical equilibrium notions of which are static with the outcomes we expect to see from learning algorithms? Okay, and some of the main central concepts are things that we actually saw previously in this workshop the last couple days: regret minimization, multi-arm bandit, calibration, which is whether your actions are consistent with beliefs. Cool. Price of anarchy. This is trying to quantify how the potential suboptimality of outcomes we get when everyone is strategic versus the outcomes we could get if a central planner told everyone what to do. Okay, so we're comparing the sort of globally optimal outcomes with the outcomes that arrive when people are strategizing for themselves. And this is working. This is not working. What are outcomes? So, and you know, a classic example of this is traffic routing. You can see if you've been ever in rush hour traffic, you know that people are making decisions that are actually making everything worse for everyone. And if some central planner just told everyone where to go, this would be a much better outcome for society. Algorithmic mechanism design. So mechanism design is, like game theory, an area that is active in many fields. And algorithmic mechanism design is asking sort of the algorithmic questions about mechanism design, typically ones of computational tractability. Like if I want to design a good mechanism, I want to be able to actually compute the outcome that mechanism says I should compute. So it better be computationally tractable. So, you know, looking at what mechanisms achieve good outcomes, are they computationally tractable? Are they robust to assumptions? Are they simple? These are some of the key concepts in algorithmic mechanism design. And so this is basically, so algorithmic mechanism design is sort of like reverse game theory. We're saying, oh, what is the game we want people to play so that we get good outcomes? And you tend to measure mechanism performance by objectives like revenue or welfare. And there are many example application areas that are quite popular today. So combinatorial auctions. There have been Nobel Prizes for economists studying combinatorial auctions for, in particular, things like how the governments allocate the wireless spectrum for cell phones. The ad auctions, which are basically financing all the great innovations we have in the internet. For example, Google and Facebook and Twitter and all these media companies are all supported by ads. So these auctions are very important. And there are some other areas that have become quite popular recently: information design, contracts, scoring rules, and such. Okay, cool. So those are some of the topic areas that are, I think, very actively pursued in algorithmic game theory. It's a super exciting field to be in, and I look forward to seeing the awesome work that you guys will all do in this area.